oh my gosh, you people would not believe what just happened. It was just too funny, too funny. Now, what I had done is I had, there's these things called copy and paste and all them other things that you have on the computer. So I decided to copy the information that I had put in the title, right? So after copying the information, I couldn't figure out what to do with it because I couldn't move out of the page. I couldn't go anyplace else with it. And I was like, well, gee whiz, that's crazy. Why would I copy what I can't move from this page because I didn't want to eliminate or delete anything? And lo and behold, Arlene comes in. And I only call her fast hands because she too fast. She does too fast. She gets on the computer and she does, and she just got the skills, right? And I'd be like, what you doing? What you doing, right? And she'd be like, but sometimes she'd be doing a oops. And she did what? It said oops. And so we was trying to get it back together. And suddenly it dawned on me that I had copied the information and to paste it somewhere. And guess where I found to paste it? Back on the screen that it erased from. Ain't that something? I'm telling you, man. That's just shocking. Because we were scrambling and saying, oh, we got to start at 6 o'clock and we know, blah, 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 blah. And this was like, it was so funny because it was like somebody tapped me on my shoulder. It was like, hey, remember what you did earlier? Well, that's why. I am King, giver and receiver of a deeper wisdom. I am here to honor the divine in you and those who have come before you. Beside me is my beloved Arlene Kahet, my wife. Kahet meaning
purifying light of God.
And this is the reading. We often do the reading first of the material we love to share with you because of our love for you and the love for the material as well. But the content of the material is so, I guess the word I want to use is not really deep. The word I want to use is thought-provoking, okay? Because we all are given the ability to think. And in that ability to think, we are blessed to radiate what is in that comes to us and then translate it to what best fits us. So no matter what's happening in life, it is here to be utilized and take the energy of it and transmute it so that it fits what is of you, no matter what it may be. And of course, if it doesn't fit, you must equip it. Sorry.
It was a bad pun. Oh my goodness, it's such a bad pun.
So blessings, Brother Renee, Sharon. And Arlene's watching too.
Yeah, well, I do share our stuff, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So shall we begin?
Okay. We already explained what we're doing, right?
Yes, we did.
All right. We're on page 74 of the Prophet, of which we're going to continue reading this through the end of the book. And I don't know, did we show you guys the last drawing that he had rendered? I think we did. But just for GP, we're going to show you another drawing that he had rendered. This is actually the drawing from the artist himself. or the poet. We'll share that later when we get to that page. We're not going to tell you what page that is, but yeah, we're going to tell you it's page 80, and we're at 74. So you'll see it soon. With that being said, we will begin.
And a poet said, "Speak to us of beauty." And he answered,
"Where shall you seek beauty, and how shall you find her unless she herself be your way and your guide? And how shall you speak of her except she be the weaver of your speech?"
The aggrieved and the injured say,
"Beauty is kind and gentle, like a young mother half shy of her own glory, she walks among us."
And the passionate say,
"Nay, beauty is a thing of might and dread. Like the tempest, she shakes the earth beneath us and the sky above us."
The tired and the weary say,
"Beauty is of soft whisperings. She speaks in our spirit. Her voice yields to our silences like a faint light that quivers in fear of the shadow."
But the restless say,
"We have heard her shouting amongst the mountains, and with her cries came the sound of hoofs and the beating of wings. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. The beating of wings and the roaring of lions."
At night the watchmen of the city say,
"Beauty shall rise with the dawn from the east."
And at noontide the toiler and the wayfarer say,
"We have seen her leaning over the earth from the windows of the sunset."
In winter say though snowbound,
"She shall come with the spring leaping upon the hills."
and in the summer heat the reapers say,
"We have seen her dancing with the autumn leaves, and we saw a drift of snow in her hair." All of these things you say of beauty, yet in truth you spoke not of her, but of needs unsatisfied. And beauty is not a need, but an ecstasy. It is not a mouth thirsting, nor an empty hand stretched forth, but rather a heart inflamed and a soul enchanted. It is not the image you would see, nor the song you would hear, but rather an image you see though you close your eyes, and a song you hear though you shut your ears. It is not the sap within the furrowed bark, nor a wing attached to a claw, but rather a garden forever in bloom, and a flock of angels forever in flight. People of Orphalese, beauty is life, when life unveils her holy face. But you are life, and you are the veil. Beauty is eternity gazing at itself in a mirror. But you are eternity, and you are the mirror. You are the mirror. We should have some music now. What say ye, my dear?
You didn't plan for music, so I'm interested in knowing what it's going to be.
Something from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
Never mind. Never mind. That other note would have killed me.
Alrighty now. You go ahead and sing there.
Well, what I enjoy about this, matter of fact, what we're going to do, seeing that, and a poet said, speak to us of beauty. There was a poet who actually said, speak to us of love in a different tune. This guy right here. Does he look familiar? Does he? Does he? Yes. I'm just going to throw this in here real quick because I find it apropos, if one may say. Lori is asking, am I free? And no, she has to pay. But there's a poem called Maybe Love. And it was inspired by a comment about forgiveness. So it says, people, this was written in May 2005, and this is a collection of poems over the years that I have been inspired to write through living thought. And living thought is a vibration that I translate into words. And this is what happened when those words were activated in me. People become so twisted about whether or not love, forgiveness, and forgetting can coexist in the same place. Splitting hairs will not solve the problem of indifference if it makes no difference when all the hairs are gone. People need to wake up and get it together before it's too late. Patience is a virtue, but don't count on it lasting forever. I had been blessed to hear an album entitled Escapology. In one of the songs, artist Robbie Williams mentioned that maybe forgiveness is a place. What if this insight that Robbie and I share is the proper way of viewing love today? So I suggest that maybe we all rethink this thing about love and our place in its giving. Thanks, Robbie, for the motivation. What's up, Linwood? And so, of my poetry, I want to share before we go into the reading of, or let's say the discussion of what Kahlil Gibran has given us. And it's called Maybe Love. Maybe love is a ghost that is selective at most as to where and who she hangs out with. Maybe if we are not found to have the appropriate character for love to accept us, then maybe it is we who are unable to attain to greater levels with love. Maybe it is we who are not found to be as receptive as we ought to be when love does call. Maybe, just maybe, forgiveness is a place, more than merely a thing we do. Maybe forgiveness is the place love loved most to be. Can you stay in the place called forgiveness? Or is it you who is always leaving? Maybe it is love that finds that it is you who is always leaving the place she loves most, and then finds you are the deserter. How can we be free in freedom without love? If only love could dominate all things, I mean real love, then wouldn't all things be beautiful? Because then it couldn't be anything else but beauty and love. by King Andre Teasdell from his book Extraordinary Epiphanies of a King. You can find it on www.kingsphilosophy.org and Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to. Oh, did you have a comment about that poem that King wrote?
I think it's beautiful, and I think that it also. I think that it's really interesting that poem came to mind after you read that selection, because the main thing that I got from this particular reading was that people viewed beauty through
Sorry.
people viewed beauty from their vantage point in their perspective, that whatever lens that they were operating through. And people who were coming from different experiences of life, like when he says here, the aggrieved and the injured say that beauty is kind and gentle. So that perspective of beauty being kind and gentle was the lens through which the lens in which they perceive what beauty would be kind and gentle. And then the passionate say, nay, beauty is a mighty thing and dread. No, beauty is the thing of might and dread. And again, this is a particular perspective. And so when you go through all of these perspectives, I think that it was interesting that for you, beauty was reflective of love, and what what was in your book, Epiphanies, Extraordinary Epiphanies of a King. Like maybe love is the answer to what beauty is. So that was the thing that struck me.
Yeah, because I do love that last line, because it says, if only love could dominate all things, I mean real love, then wouldn't all things be beautiful? So for me, love is beautiful. So it says, because then it couldn't be anything else but beauty and love. So for me, in accordance to what we see here, it says, speak to us of beauty, and the translation is love, because these things of which were spoken are the things that these persons love. They have their attachment to it. So it says, where shall you seek beauty, and how shall you find her unless she herself be your way and your guide? Now here I gave you a place where beauty lives. Let us say, if that place is forgiveness, okay, that no one really paid any attention to, because we just talk about forgiveness, but we don't see it as a place. But then, as soon as someone aggrieves us, we run from that place of forgiveness, and we want to be in a different mood, and all these things, and love loves being there. So if love loves being there in this place called forgiveness, then you are not forgiving, then how beautiful is that? You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. So it says, the aggrieved and the injured say, beauty is kind and gentle. You know why? Because if you are grieved, don't you want somebody to to say, I'm sorry? You know what I mean?
Well, you want
someone
them, you may want them to say that, but even if they don't say that, if you can get to a place of balance with that,
well,
and
it says here, it says beauty is kind and gentle to them. So whatever that translation is, if it's kind and gentle, well then that's what they see as far as beauty is, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be what you're saying. Doesn't necessarily have to be forgiveness, because it says, and the injured say. So someone who's injured, and I've seen several people who's been injured because I worked as a paramedic for several years, so 20 years actually, and it's interesting how whomever was injured that was conscious enough to know, um, they appreciated the kind and gentleness that comes when you're bandaging their wound, or oh man, I remember a situation where there was a big blowout. Guy was getting ready to throw. I was getting ready to throw the guy out the window. Guy jumped up in my face like he was wanted to fight after he done cut his sister's wrist. And boy, that was not the day. But the Lord saved me, hallelujah, and so nobody died. But it was just a flashback. But I remember that in that experience, I rendered what here it says kind and gentle, because she was just rocking in the middle of the floor holding her wrist after this guy jumped up in my face. But his brothers saw the I guess saw the sparks of kicking off, and he was like, oh boy, we need this guy to help her, and if he gets in entanglement with this brother of ours, then he's not going to be able to do what's necessary for her. And so rendering the kindness and the gentleness to her, that guy the guy who caused all the issues, started crying like a baby. I mean, it was crazy because this dude didn't know how close he came, in my mind back then, to death, because he affronted me, and that was not the thing to do. So he had shifted my diet. He shifted me from being a... Anyway, the kindness and the gentleness that was given to that woman must have broke whatever it was in him. And he apologized for what he had done. So that goes to show that the power of even being kind and gentle can override a difficult situation. Because, wow, that's been way over 15 years ago. And I'm just learning something from that. That's pretty deep. Because I just wrote in one of the speeches that I had that you should live your life in such a way to where you are not influenced by the environment, but you are the influencer.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Let's go back to the book. Man. And so it said, like a young mother half shy of her own glory, she walks among us. That is a beautiful sight when you see a person who's like that. It's almost like this lady right here. She is so shy and walking in her glory amongst us. I said, I love that woman. So I married her, right? And so the next line, did you have a comment? Are you okay?
I don't even know what to do with that, King.
Okay, well, we move right along then. And the Passionists say, nay, beauty is a thing of might and dread. Think about it. Like the tempest, she quakes the earth beneath us and the sky above us. Now, it's interesting that that part came forth after the comment about that guy doing what he did, because that's how I appeared when he jumped up in my face like he did.
You were the tempest.
I was the tempest, and I was about to shake the earth. That dude was about to get thrown out the window. Whether I don't know if I shared that, guys, but that guy was about to get thrown out the window because I didn't know what else to do, and I just knew that I had to stand my post and I had to defend me. And I'm telling you, the guy went, I'll tell you the rest of the story. The guy went to shove me. And when he went to shove me, I was going to go and, you know how you bum rush somebody? and just hit him hard and just take him to the wall. Well, behind him was the window that the girl got cut by. It was already broken, and it was very easy for him to go out. And that was the direction that things was headed.
Well, we feel honored and blessed that that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because they would have probably took me to jail anyway, and I wouldn't even be here to say this. How are they going to explain that, you know? Man tried to jump me, man. Anyway, but what happened is when he went and he touched me, it was like he didn't even shove me. What's up, Mike? He didn't even shove me. It's like when he touched me. I'm talking about experience in the fire department when I don't know if I shared that one with you, where the guy went and jumped at me on White Lock. You know how the hard heads up there, and so he went to shove me, and when he went to shove me, I went to bum rush him to take him to the window. But before I could even move, the dude's hands didn't even. It felt like it didn't even touch me. It was because they jumped on him so fast. Because my focus was like. They jumped on him so fast, I almost stumbled over my own self because I was ready to bum rush him through the window, but he wasn't there. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's how fast that thing happened, and I can only attribute that to God. And so that, as she was saying, is the blessing in and of itself.
That is the blessing.
And I actually, that's when I started my spiritual journey, y'all, for really though. Because that was just too crazy.
Well, let's just say that you were always on it. It was just that you may have gotten more aligned with it.
Thank you, my dear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the tired and weary say, beauty is soft whisperings. She speaks in our spirit. Her voice yields to our silences like a faint light that quivers in fear of the shadow. What's your thought about that?
Well, hey, isn't Spirit always talking to us?
Yes.
Spirit is always talking to us. Sometimes, in the beginning, in quiet whispers, if we're sitting there listening, and then, later on, Spirit will knock you upside your head.
Well, that's the tempest that shakes the earth beneath you, right? You'll be like, whoa, what's going on? I better get myself together. And I had that experience too, but we'll talk about that some other time. But the restless say, you see, all these things these people are referencing are things that they love, you see. So the restless say, we have heard her shouting among the mountains. And because the restless, generally these guys are hunters, okay? They not sitting home and chilling, okay? They got to go out, they got to do things, they got to jump off of cliffs, they got to be wild and crazy, okay? So, we heard her shouting among the mountains, and with her cries came the sound of hoofs. Can you hear them? Here come the hoofs, that's right. Y'all been in the westerns, y'all seen the westerns? Here they come. Right? And the beating of wings, right? I don't know if you guys have seen those videos on YouTube where the eagle comes out to get its prey, and it can be as big as a goat or a deer. And man, the beating of those wings is crazy when they have the claws inside of that thing, and they're about to take flight with what they captured. How's it? Wing, kick it.
Yeah, the talons.
Right. And there was one of them that the goat got caught by the eagle, and the goat was trying to get away, and they went tumbling down the mountain. And the eagle, every chance it got, for some reason the wings didn't break, but every chance it got, it went to try to take off and fly with that thing again. It was a pretty big piece of meat, but he went to go fly off, and next thing that goat was trying to get away, and next thing they go tumbling down the mountain again. Well, YouTube has that. It's called the Goat and the Eagle. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. And then it says,
"Hi, John.
What's up, John?" And it says, and the beating of wings and the roaring of lions. Okay? Now, there's two different roars of a lion. There's one when he is just kind of getting his vocal cords together for the morning, right? And then there's that roar that, you're like, oh, it's time to leave because he's about to do some things. So, that too is a hunter. The beating of the wings is a hunter. The sound of hoofs, the sound of hunters, the things of which they love. At night the watchman of the city says, beauty shall rise with the dawn from the east, because they've been watching all night
For the sunrise.
for the sunrise.
It is a beautiful sight.
It's
too.
a beautiful sight. It is a beautiful sight. I was blessed last week I was working I was working a shift of which we had to work extra duty because of the snow, and to see the rising of the sun and the setting of that same day was just, it was majestic.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was so clear on both ends of the equation. Oh, wow. And so it says, and at noontide the toilers and the wayfarers say, we have seen her leaning over the earth from the windows of the sunset. You know what that means, don't you?
Yeah.
That was me moving that snow at the end of the day, and I saw that sun setting. Was able to go home because our supervisor wasn't going to let us work over into the night. And when I was driving down the street, I actually had a sense of relief. I was like,
yeah, actually, when they talk about the toilers and the wayfarers, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, but let me take a look at this sunset. Let me take this moment to, be one with this experience, because it's very beautiful right now, and maybe it made all of that work worth it.
yeah. So I've spoken quite a bit. Would you care to elaborate on what we have left? Because my point in and of itself is basically seeing how each perspective of what beauty is that perspective to the person that loves the thing that they do.
Well, and I said that earlier
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
Which, for the most part is pretty much the same, which doesn't really take away from anyone's particular perspective. It's just their perspective, and beauty is represented in all of it. And Winter says the snowbound, she shall come with the spring leaping upon the hills. And how many of us are feeling right like that right now?
Especially seeing they're talking about snow tomorrow, y'all. But it shouldn't be bad unless y'all live further north than we do. But I'm just saying, not to mess you up. I'm just saying.
I don't think that we had much snow last year, but this year it really came back with a vengeance, and it's not really snow. It's ice or freezing rain, and that's a totally different experience. And let me just tell you, snow is much better. Just in case you're wondering, you want more snow instead of ice. But
well, she's had her experience this year.
Well, yeah.
But being here in Baltimore, I know that there has been some snows that have been horrific. So we've seen nothing, and I hope not to see anything, because let's put it this way: I work in Baltimore County Schools now, and I am one of the essential personnel. And pretty much any job I do, I become essential. Anyway, we have to move the snow no matter what the situation, no matter what the circumstance. And I bring that up because there's times to where the snow is so much to where we have to call contractors to come in from other jurisdictions, from other states, to help us move the snow, because our equipment can only handle but so much. And we will stay overnight because we have to, in order to move the snow and or direct the contractors and what they're doing. And man,
Okay, well, we can move on.
let's
Because, and in the summer, the heat, and in the summer heat, the reapers say, uh, we shall see her dancing with the autumn leaves, and we saw a drift of snow in her hair.
and you know why?
You know,
Because the first frost is the key to a lot of those who are farmers and
farmers.
harvesters
Mm-hmm.
know that that first frost, man, it's like there's some things that need to be harvested before then. But the first frost, there's some vegetation that is just better when the first frost hits it. Kapow! Get some of that now.
And after it says, all these things have you said of beauty, yet in truth you spoke not of her, but of needs unsatisfied. So
Now, what do you say about that? Because as I was looking at it, my perception was, this is what people love. So, when he says needs unsatisfied, that's because each person's perspective is their perspective because that need was not filled when they were looking for beauty. And if it wasn't one of these things, then
it is a limited perspective.
Exactly.
Is essentially what it
Yeah.
comes down to, because all of it has its balance, all of it has its beauty. And so, when he says that, and beauty is not a need but an ecstasy, it is not a mouth thirsting nor an empty hand stretched forth, but rather a heart inflamed and a soul enchanted.
now how do you envision that? A heart inflamed and a soul enchanted. So for me, what I see is radiance, okay? Because of the heart. There's a radiance that is just luminous. And the soul is enchanted in such a way to where if it just reaches out to touch something, just reaching out to touch it, the magic just happens.
Okay. It is not the image you would see, nor the song you would hear, but rather an image you see though you close your eyes, and a song you hear though you shut your ears.
You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Now you get it? Because how do you see a soul, a heart inflamed? My visual of it is something that is a visual when it's an image I see though I close my eyes, right? And the song I hear though I shut my ears. And that song I hear when I shut my ears is the song of magic. Because the soul is enchanted, you see. What does an enchanted soul look like? You haven't even seen one. Can you touch a soul? We saw the movie, but we can't touch it. But an enchanted soul, it's magical. I mean, that's just... So how do you... And so if it's magical, doesn't it have music like we was talking about earlier? You know? But continue, my dear. It is not the sap within the furrowed bark, nor a wing attached to a claw. Remember I was telling you about the eagle, right? And the beating of the wings,
Yes.
right? It's not those things, but rather a garden forever in bloom, and a flock of angels forever in flight. Man, that's got to be beautiful. I don't know if I've actually seen a flock of angels. I haven't seen a flock of birds. They look pretty nice.
I think that it would that in order in this what you would say this is excerpt of when he talks about beauty, that you really needed to be within an inward dwelling place in order to be an accurate observation of it, observation of the beauty that he's speaking of.
Yeah, because it says, but rather a garden forever in bloom. So think of that. It's just a thought alone. A garden forever in bloom has every fragrance that you desire. Okay, every flower and bloom that you would like to see. You see, all of that is right there, and it's forever there. Anytime you come, look, the beauty. See it right there.
Yes.
So,
And so, people of Orphalese, beauty is the life when life unveils her holy face.
beauty is life when life unveils her holy face. And you have to define life, okay? Because life is three things. Life is love. Life is God. And God is love. And life and love is beauty. You see?
Oh, I see.
And so, in your expression, because that's what life is. If God, with God being life, God being love, God being beauty, when life unveils her holy face, you can't help but see the beauty of God in everything. But you have to understand that you are life and you are the veil. Why? Because you allow the limitations. You see? You let those be there. Nobody forced those on you. Just because that person sees beauty from one perspective doesn't mean that it's not there. It means that you didn't see it from their perspective. Yet, it's those three, always and forever. And so it says, but you are life and you are the veil. It says, beauty is eternity gazing at herself in a mirror.
At itself in the mirror.
At itself in a mirror. So if that's the case, there's a lot of metaphysicians say this. All is God and God is all. And everything is a manifestation of the expression of life through the God force, which is love. Everything is an expression of life as the God force. Because without the God force, there is no life, you see. But all life is the expression of God, and God's expression is expansion. It's expansive. Everything, every expansion is an expression. But you are the mirror of that expression. You are the representative of that expression. And however you are expressing, however you are representing, you are accountable. Because it says, but you are eternity and you are the mirror. So what is it that you want to see? You follow? Because if beauty is eternity gazing at itself in a mirror, but you are eternity and you are the mirror. What is it that you want to see? Because let's flip it in this manner. If you was God, and we all are expressions thereof, how would you want to be represented?
Yeah, hey, I will come back to you. That's a very deep and esoteric question. I'm not prepared to answer that right now. Not with words.
I do understand, but as we say, even though oftentimes this seems to be a conversation between Arlene and myself, you all are more than welcome to participate in the comments or what have you. It is always a pleasure to bring wisdom, so I believe it, to the stage and expound upon it from what vibration it brings, so that I can share that vibration that I receive, and then we can reason together.
All right now.
So I'm pretty much finished.
I'm complete too. We are full.
So I guess we can close out.
Yeah, we're a little early.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
So is there anything else you wish to share?
No, we thank you for your time. Those of you who've spent time being with us from the very get-go, we love and appreciate you.
Yeah, we have these posts on every Sunday for the most part, and there is an archive. So if you wish to actually go back, we haven't done that in a good while. Start the book off fresh, and give them what the book itself.
Because we've had a lot to say.
The energy of the book itself, because the way in which the book materialized, from what I gathered, just a quick summation, is this is a man full of wisdom who lived amongst the people, and living amongst the people, knowing that there was a day to come to where his brethren, the place of which is of his birth, would come seeking him to bring him home. And he waits with patience for this day, and everybody knows about it. But he is just expounding love and wisdom and all the good things of life amongst these people, and everybody's experience of just him being a part of their experience. It just got them just all, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Well, it's got them all lit up.
All lit up and wanting to, and knowing that he's at the end of his experience with them.
Well, that's the other side. Yeah, because he's I guess one could say he has inspired so many people. He has brought wisdom to so many people, and then his ship comes, and everybody sees that his ship is coming, and knows that it's his time to leave, and now they call him to
ask their last few questions before he is off into the sunset.
Yeah.
On that boat.
Wow. So anyway, we'll read that eventually. That section again, because that's the best translation I can give you for now. Right. But we want to honor your time, because you have been so gracious to share your time with us. And so I'm always smiling because of the love I'm feeling from you guys. Well, her too. I'm just saying. So with that, You can close us out.
So we love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We thank God for you. And we know that wherever you are, God is.
Yes. Namaste.
You got the pen.
She wanted me to do the pen.
You
The
could
pen.